In late May 1943, an article published by the Kreuzzeitung reported on documents leaked from the military government in Paris. They outline plans drafted by General von Bock and his administrative staff titled Solution to the Syndicalist Problem. These plans build on the experience from the short-lived Bordeaux Enclave experiment and propose a vast network of camps in the occupied territory in Tunis. Quoting the paper, von Bock stated, "The threat of the syndicalists to social cohesion cannot be overstated. While some were simply followers, many are ideological extremists and fanatics who are mortally opposed to the very idea of the empire under one Kaiser. The humane solution for those irredeemables who cannot be re-educated and reintegrated into civilized society is to create a space for them safely away from Europe, such that their misguided ways may never again infect the populace and turn brothers against each other. To that effect, we are designating areas in the territory of Tunis as reservations, where under guard notorious syndicalists from all over Europe will be deported to. The French military will maintain the duty of ensuring the safety of the residents and the safety of the world from them." So far, there has been no official reaction from Berlin. As Germany has taken over control of vast Russian territories after the political negotiations of the peace treaty, it turns out that the Ukrainian handling of matters on the ground has been nothing short of catastrophic. The resistance is extremely well organized and very effective in attacking local garrisons, and German garrison troops taking over from their Ukrainian counterparts are uncovering large gaps in their respective networks, very high inefficiencies, corruption, and general mistreatment. So with the arrival of German troops taking over garrison duties, the overall resistance is expected to be reduced. However, we are probably going to need to bring some agents in to help bring this resistance down, such that it doesn't spread any further into the lately conquered Russian hinterland, and be even more costly in terms of manpower and equipment. So let's see who we can deputize. We've got Josef Jakobs, who is currently working on rooting out resistance in Iceland, and he's probably needed there. We've got Giscas, who is in occupied Spain. How is it looking in Spain? Yeah, it's still not looking great in Spain either. So the overall compliance in Portugal is in the Kingdom of Spain is very low. But then again, the same is true for the Russian Republic. But I don't think we can necessarily remove these. We've got Josef Schmidt, who is operating in India, and that is kind of necessary. We have Kurt Weiss, who is currently in New Jersey. And I think we can, I think we will have to recall our operatives from the Americas at this point, as much as this will hurt our intelligence networks. But we are going to need all hands on deck, and Greece is under our control as well. So we were going to need all hands on deck to deal with the resistance until the situation has improved and until a political solution can be found. So we're beginning with Laval, and we're probably going to send him to Greece, where it's a bit warmer, and he can help with anti-resistance operations. We have who do we have here? We've got Kurt Weiss, and he can help. He's probably a good candidate to send to Moscow. We've got Polyakova, who is currently operating in Finland. How's the Finnish resistance looking? Yeah, she is probably needed there as well. But we've got Franz Schulze, and we can send him to a bit further east, the Simbirsk region. And then I think that's about it. We've got Laval, who is in Greece, and we've got We've got Chamorro, who is operating also. Well, maybe we can reassign Agent Polyakova after all. I would love to have somebody in the southern region. Yeah, so we'll send her to Astrakhan until a political solution can be found, and yeah, until then we are going to be dealing with. We're going to be dealing with the resistance of the occupied territories. All right, so troops are moving. Troops are in place at the borders of Somalia, but of course, supply is completely atrocious in the area. So we are getting supply out of Mombasa, which is insufficient. How much longer until we can actually invade Somalia? We are still 80 days away from, or 2 months away from a justification. Can we? I doubt we can construct a supply hub in the area, but we might be able to raise a port in the south and just ship in. Yeah, that might be the quickest solution. We'll create a naval base at the coastline here to supply the troops, and we can try to ship in some. Equipment by rail, and whatever else we can get, we'll bring it by sea. So that should not be a huge problem. And then we can deal with the Somalia situation. Now, all the troops that are currently stationed in Eastern Europe are going to have to be reorganized. So that's going to be a larger undertaking. And also the Air Force has to be reorganized. I am going to be saving up political power to start working on the overall disarmament situation, honestly, because we are at this point, if we're looking at the factions mode, the Reichspakt is in control of pretty much all of Europe, Africa, and most of the fighting is in the Indo-Pacific region at this point, while the Americas are sorting themselves out still, and we've left that territory pretty much out of considerations. But it is time to start focusing more on the situation at home, because our war support is dwindling with every day that the German occupation of territories is active. And as such, if we can do things like reduce the conscription laws, we can bring some people back to the economy. We can get out of the full mobilization of the country back into a partial mobilization, which will increase the amount of political power that we have available to us. All things that are useful, so all things that we can do. Right, but first things first, a larger troop reorganization is going to be required, and we'll see what we need in India. So for now, we have in the Asian theater, we do have Hugo Fuchs's Mountaineers. We do have Model's Third Army of Assault Infantry and some Marine divisions. We do have Halde's troops, which are getting ready for the island hopping operations northwards, and we've got Paulus's somewhat mixed 12th Army, and we've got a few security troops in Ceylon under Hermann Hott. So can we can probably try to open a second front from the occupied territory. The problem is going to be that there's absolutely no supply. There's going to be no supply anywhere here. So any kind of operations into India from the front lines on the other side are going to require massive supply improvements, and as such, we might be able to send some mobile troops. I am thinking of sending some tank divisions. How's the terrain in India? It's a lot of flat terrain, so tank divisions would actually be good in order to rapidly break through the Indian lines. So we might send Guderian. We might concentrate some tanks under Guderian and send them over. And at the same time, we might be able to bring a bit less supply-intensive infantry divisions under Mackensen. But again, we are going to need supply, so we can create a second naval base and see that we can. Do we actually? Yeah, there's no railway. There are no railway connections anywhere here that we can effectively work with. There's some disconnected railways, so maybe that's another good task to reconnect and upgrade these railway lines to get the supply hubs in the north connected, and then create a at least workable network of railway connections throughout Iran. Where is the? Yeah, it's a desert and a half here, and no mistake. So that would work, and then we can connect that to the wider Iraqi railway network if we can. I think that. Can we connect that? Yes, we can. So let's get that all connected and upgraded, and also the lines north, and that should give us connection to Tehran and some improved supply flow along the lines here. And here, yeah, these railway networks are terrible as well, so these need upgrading such that we can get the Baghdad railway going, and then we can still upgrade the networks further north until we are reaching the Turkish system and then into the Ottoman core supply lines tap into these. So with this operation, we should be able to, that'll take a while to construct, but at least with that we should eventually get some supply flowing through the region. May as well get the industry to work and make that all happen. Talking of supply, supply here is very much overused in the area. Can we improve that in any way? Is there any railway? No, the railways here are already maxed out, so this is all that we're going to get. All the supply we are going to get we're going to get in the area. And how are we on trains? We're still good, but we are going to need more trains, so we can shift the production around a bit. I think I've actually increased that recently, so that should all be good. So we're not going to get any better supply here, which means that any further troops are actually going to overload the local supply. We're already relatively short with the troops on hand, and the next steps are going to be to push towards Calcutta and also take the supply hub in the north in, I think it's Assam. Yeah, Assam. Make that ours, and then sweep into the plains. But I think getting Guderian's troops shipped over into Burma and having them ready for sweeping through the Indian plains is a good move. Alternatively, we could get him to invade from Ceylon, but we don't, and then move through the Central Territory. That might not actually be a terrible idea because the supply is already completely overloaded. So once so maybe we can redesignate some of the Marines from the Philippines once they are finished. Right now we've got 6 divisions moving north, and we've got 4 divisions from Manila. So what we can do is after they've taken Palawan, we can send them over to Ceylon and prepare a naval invasion and retaking of Madras. And then from there, Guderian's troops can move through the plains and destroy the southern Indian positions, and that should make a quick end of things. So I will get that reorganized, and also the Air Force. We've got, of course, a lot of planes stationed in the east, and they will be moving. They will be either stood down or moving to where they are needed. So a lot of reorganization is required, and then from there. We'll see what we do with the rest of the troops. For now, I will bring them home to Germany. We do have still the Austro-Hungarian question, or rather the United States of Greater Austria. However, as it stands, we are at an uneasy, I'd say, uneasy friendly relationship with the Donau-Adria-Bund and the United States of Greater Austria. They have been lending some assistance in the war, but the amount of troops stationed at the borders is nevertheless worrying, and we might need to just position some troops here to ensure the safety of the Reichspakt. So I'll get that all organized. Let's quickly go through the events. We've had a few naval battles. There are some American troops operating in the Central Atlantic. Some American shipping here. We are aware of this, but so far we are sinking some of their transports relatively successfully. There's some border skirmishes and I think a naval invasion over here, but other than that, not too much happening just yet in the American-Canadian War. What else do we have? We've got 3 military factories, and we've got another MIO, the Gotha Waggonfabrik, which we were using for strategic bombers, as far as I remember. So let's get that. And yes, I will go through the aircraft models and get them upgraded where necessary. I think the overall production is going to shift more into the strategic bombing capabilities when it comes to aircraft, because if we are to fight a war against the Americas, then long-range operations are going to be necessary. So I think Iceland is also going to become a major outpost. And for any operations against the Americas and potentially Greenland, but Iceland is sort of the furthest post from which we can operate. So it's probably not a terrible idea to. We've already got the airbase up in Iceland. How about in Eastern Africa? Yeah, I think at the tip here in Senegal. Let's improve the infrastructure in Senegal, and then we will build up the airbase in Senegal. That is already quite substantial, and we're also going to create radar stations just to have improved visibility in order to secure the Atlantic here, depending on how things work out in the Americas. All right, so that's that. This should just be, that's just recruitment, convoy raiding things, and we are getting a few artillery shipments from the rest of the Reichspakt. But we can also start potentially demobilizing some troops. We might not need all of them, but we'll see how it all turns out. So I'll get everything reorganized, and I'll show you what that all looks like once the Reichspakt and the German Empire is positioned towards the new reality of things. And yes, of course, we have potentially an option here to attack Japan from the east. The problem, as usual, is that there's going to be no supply over here, so supply lines through Russia are not yet connected, and anyway a complete mess. So things are going to get funny here, and we'll see what the political solution is going to be before I'm going to make any investments in further east. We could also move through China potentially, and complete the liberation of Korea. That might be a good. How's the supply there? That's actually not too terrible. So maybe that's a that's an option to send some more tanks to Korea and finish the liberation there. Okay, major redeployments. Guderian is going to move to Ceylon. We will have von Mackensen moving to Iranian-occupied territory for opening a western front against India. And we've got von Kluge moving to Korea. Effective, no one is currently in, we're going to call this, this is already Army Group Asia, so this is going to be Heeresgruppe Mittelasien, Central Asian Army Group, and this is going to be Heeresgruppe Ostasien. It's a little arbitrary, but we at least we have some division of things here, and this army group is eventually going to be led by none other than von Kluge himself once he gets promoted to field marshal for his success in Russia. Guderian prefers to stay on the ground, and also von Kluge has seniority over him, so that is what's going to happen. And then somebody has to move up and take over von Kluge's second panzer. The rest of the infantry is mostly moving back into Europe and securing the borders with the Donau-Adria-Bund and the United States of Greater Austria. And the African troops are moving to, or have already moved into position in Somalia. And the Air Force is slowly relocating into air bases in Iceland for long-range bombing operations, potentially. And we can now, that's all out of the way, wait for political solutions for the Russian occupation, because we certainly don't want to keep occupying that territory. And at the same time, keep going with our efforts here. So let's get back into the action. What are our battle groups doing? We've got the third still repairing. We've got the first ready in northern Luzon on strike force, and I think from here on we can start projecting a bit of power now. So the Aufklärungsgeschwader does no longer need to cover the southern regions, but instead can move. We've got four task forces, so we can move into the northern regions and start challenging Japanese influence in and around the homelands. And for that, we also are going to take the Hochseeflotte out of southern operations and focus it on the northern regions here, to ensure that any kind of Japanese operations are going to be countered, and we're going to clear the seas towards the coastline. Once we might even include the coast of Japan once the third is operationally ready. We do have a few destroyers that we can use to backfill. We'll probably send 3 each to the respective battle groups. And we've got a couple of submarines. Let me quickly check if, yeah, these are not correct. These are Unterseebootsflottillen. These should automatically reinforce once they are. Okay, that one is correct. And that means we can create a new one. And that is going to be, where are we now? That's going to be the 9th Unterseebootflottille. So let's get that going. And that is going to be number 9. And that shall be a submarine group. And you also shall have the Unterseebootflottille. Okay. And you are going to be on convoy raiding. All right. So more submarine, improved submarine operations over the coast of Japan. And I think we have some, we've got the naval patrol wings here as well. Do we have a more northern airbase that we can start covering the East China Sea? I don't think so. I think Manila is the northernmost we're going to get. So we might as well just send them over into the Philippine Sea as well, as much as they can cover, and ensure that that nothing gets through here. But we might have to fight our way north with the Marines. How far is the planning going at this point? Okay, looks like our invasions are fully planned. So let's get the Marine Sturmdivision going. And we'll just do the Palawan invasion. I think the other one is not quite ready yet. So let's enact the Palawan landing operation. Troops are moving, and that'll root out the last remaining resistance here. And then once we've got the 7th Marine Sturmdivision still moving into position, and once they are there, then we can also launch into Taiwan. But for now, let's see if we can manage. We'll relocate the fleet, and we will see if we can manage to catch the rest of the Japanese forces. There are a fair few, as you can see, in the theater. So it looks like the first is already in combat here. So what have we? We're just hunting some submarines. Okay. That is not what they're particularly well destined for. Talking about Navy, and let's have a very brief look. I think we are still producing the Thunder class frigates. I think we can at this point maybe improve these a little bit. We did have a slightly better older destroyer. I think it was the V170As. We've got the A1, A2. Let's reinstate these, and let's have a quick look what these look like. And yeah, we can upgrade these. We can upgrade these quite significantly, and then we can use the V class as escort destroyers rather than the Thunder class frigates. And I think we have slightly improved depth charges, so that's better. And we have they already have the Escalade. Other than that, I think they're all in good shape. So we'll upgrade these with the latest, and we'll give them some AA guns as well. So with that, we've got the A3 V170 class, and these are going to be our mainline escort destroyers going forward. So let's save that, and then we can we've got one Thunder class finishing up, and I think we can get 2 lines onto the improved escort destroyers. We've got lots of submarines under construction, another Elsass, there's another Thunder, so 3 lines. So we get 3 lines of the V170 class going. It's one V170 Blom-Voss and another one V170 Blom-Voss. There we go. And these will be the new escort destroyers. So let's get that underway, and then they can start filling out the Geleitgruppen. And these are going up to 20. So we've still got some backfilling to do. So that would be the Dritte Kaiserliche Flotte. That's where they are going. So let's see if we can just designate them. Can I just assign them to the whole fleet? I might not. I think I just have to assign them to the theater, because they have to go to the either to the task force or to the theater. So we're going to send them to the Atlantic Theater just to make sure they are landing where the convoy escorts are operating, and then they can be integrated into the Geleitgruppen. All right, so we've got that going, and that brings us back to India. How is the air situation in India? We've got 4 tactical bomber wings, 2 heavy fighter wings, and no opposition on the airspace in India. So I think now is the time to start once again assaulting the lines here. We do have 3. We've got 4 marine divisions ready here, and we will try once again to assault across the river north and cut off. Actually, we might try to. We've got 9 divisions here. We've got more divisions there. We can Yeah, we'll try to assault here, because from there we can get some fire support from the 4 Sturm divisions here. So we'll launch the attack here. We get some fire support across the river, and we will see. We do have this. There are planes on the other side, so it's much less easy to defend. The Air Force is coming in large numbers, and this is where the Marine Sturmpanzer-Division are shining, because their armor cannot, even though they're light tanks, their armor cannot easily be penetrated, and they are doing a lot of damage. Especially the breakthrough is quite impressive also on these. So despite attempts by the Indian forces the Indian Air Force to counter, not much is going on there. We do have to keep an eye on naval battles. Okay, that's where we've lost 2 submarines in the operational area to the Japanese strike group. So we definitely want to keep an eye on what our Schlachtgeschwader is busy with. Currently still docked in Luzon. Still enemy shipping operating in the South China Sea, so we'll include that as a strike area. But hopefully they can start attacking these enemy operational groups that we are encountering in the northern regions. We've got some unassigned divisions. 3 mountain divisions have actually finished up. Okay, so they can join the 8th Army. So let's get these to join. And yeah, so resistance is unfortunately problematic, but there's very little we can do about it at this point. Just keeping an eye out if there are any. Oh yeah, we've got the fate decisions. All right, so. That's something we probably want to do. The fate of Greece. Let's see what. Okay, well, first, one thing after the other. First, we'll finish off the river crossing, and keep an eye on the naval combat at the same time. Okay, that's just a minor skirmish, but we do want to keep an eye on potential naval operations there. So let's keep that open as well and see if the first is going to start engaging somewhere. But yeah, the Indian troops and Swaminathan has been replaced now with Mohan Singh taking over the defense, but they just have nothing to counter the Sturmpanzer-Division that are attacking across the river here. And with the fire support of the heavy infantry, I think we will, and with the Luftwaffe pounding them from the air, I think we will break through here eventually. But the Indians are definitely bringing in all possible reserves that they can in order to try and hold this position. And without the Sturmpanzer-Division, this would have been the Marines themselves will struggle, but the Sturmpanzer-Division leading the charge here has made it across the river line, and now we have another 9, 10, 17, 24, another Indian field army in the north, completely cut off. So we will wait for their supply to run out. And then I will destroy this army, clear out the lines, and then start the push towards Calcutta after massive Indian losses. Meanwhile, Reda has engaged the Japanese fleet, and we are in battle with the Japanese carrier forces. This battle has been going on for a bit already. The Japanese have lost the Izumi to Elsa's massive guns, as well as some destroyers, 2 cruisers, and they're still engaged with all 4 fleet carriers. So we've got the Soryu, the Saikubo, the Hiryu, and the Shokaku facing off against the 2 carriers, the Europa and the Seydlitz. But other than that, they have Akagi and Kawachi as their carrier escorts, as well as a few heavy cruisers and a relatively large number of light cruisers and destroyers. But I think, given that the Japanese are already trying to retreat, we are going to see if we can manage to land some hits. We've got some bomb hits landed on some of the carriers, but the carriers are already turning tail and running. So I think they will probably get away under the screening force. At least the German combat air patrol has done a great job, and a great job to counter the Japanese carrier strikes. So the Kawachi has been sunk by the König and has taken some damage, but the rest of the capital ships mostly has escaped. We'll see how many of the cruisers are still and destroyers are still going to go down on the retreat here. But the Imperial Japanese Navy has taken another massive loss, and with that is going to lose operational control over the Strait of Korea here. And they have lost 26 destroyers, mostly to light cruisers like the Rheinland and the Westfalen. But even the Elsa's secondaries are taking out a destroyer now as well. The light forces are getting completely wiped out, and with that, a major naval victory over the Japanese at hand here, with one destroyer lost, the G213. We've lost 5 fighters, 6 torpedo bombers, and 3 dive bombers, 4 fighters and 6 torpedo bombers on the enemy side. But while the air battle has been indecisive, given that the Japanese had a 2-to-1 numerical superiority, the battle on the surface has been very decisive. They have lost 41 destroyers, 2 battleships, 1 heavy cruiser, 2 light cruisers, and a few aircraft. And with that, I think the back of the Japanese fleet has been broken. How many capital ships do they still have? Because they're down to 1 battle cruiser and 2 battleships, so they don't even have enough technically, unless they bring in the heavy cruisers, to screen the carrier force. So the last combat effective Imperial Japanese Navy force is the carrier group. It's the core of the carrier group, and they don't even have enough escort ships to bring another fleet to bear. So I would say the German ships have wrestled control of the seas from Japan, and we'll see how much longer is it going to take for the third to repair. There's still a lot of repairs going on. Is the first still mostly? There are a few ships that are in need of repair. I'll probably just send the destroyers to repair individually, and let's get the more heavily damaged destroyers out for repair, because we had some fresh destroyers coming in, and none of the larger ships is in absolute need of repair. So we can keep the first on naval operations for now until the third is completely repaired. Friendly troops have landed in the Philippines. The Marines did not without much trouble, so we'll now take Palawan and finish off the last rebellious remnants of the Philippine government. And the developments in the north. It appears that the Canadians have taken Detroit. Canadian forces made their move yesterday evening to secure downtown Detroit, crossing the river at the Jefferson Corridor against heavy Red Guard resistance. By nightfall, Dominion of Canada soldiers were negotiating the surrender of soldiers holed up in North End. The East End surrendered, and the Syndicate loyalists were spotted making a retreat across the West Side. The Syndicate militias have left behind the husks of Fisher buildings, the Dearborn, and the great works of Albert Kahn. It is obvious to observers that Detroit is now the territory of the Dominion of Canada, but not before the Red Guard destroyed the Edsel Ford Memorial Building and left a massive edifice in to their cause on the viaduct signed by the notorious artist Diego Rivera. So Canada is making inroads into the Union of Socialist American States, which is rather surprising, given that the Americans technically have a significant superiority in troops. If we, from what we know, they should have about twice the troop numbers that the Canadians are having. So there seem to be some tactical misadventures going on here. But we will see. How the American troops are going to fare. In either case, it is none of our concern at this point, because we have a situation in the north to deal with, and it looks like the Burmese troops are trying to launching immediate assaults onto the cut off Indian divisions in the north, but we'll wait a little bit for them to we'll wait a little bit for them to lose their cohesion before we do any further large scale attacks here. And I'm just going to shorten the front lines. Now that the river crossing has been secured, we can bring another air wing over to East Bengal and do ground operations over the air zone, and we can start bringing modals assault divisions across the river to assist with defending against the immediate Indian counterattacks, who are desperately trying to break out. And we'll let the Burmese run the initial assaults here, but the Indian defenders are still they are on low supply, but nowhere near low enough. So they get some support from the Luftwaffe, but other than that, not an awful lot ongoing. We are chasing away some Japanese submarines. That is good work, and we are about to finish off the remainders of the Philippine positions here. So these 4 Marine divisions can, once they are done here, relocate to Ceylon, and we've got the 6 divisions to launch the invasion of Taiwan here. So I think that can. We're ready to go. We should have, we've got the Navy. The Japanese Navy is at this point not a threat, but we can get the first Schlachtgeschwader to run naval invasion support, and we'll just get them to move to. We'll just get them to return to northern Luzon, and then once they're in the area, then we will launch the invasion. Managed to sink a Japanese submarine, defend our convoys. It looks like after years of war, the convoy escorts are finally becoming effective. And we are moving some assault divisions over, but I think the Indian counterattack has been defeated. And the Burmese assaults have stopped as well. So not sure why the mountain divisions are moving around here. I think they are all in the right positions where they are. Yeah. So we'll let them plan out. We'll let them plan out the destruction of the Indian army in the north, and we are going to continue the assault. Where's the next supply line? Because supply lines are a major problem. This is why we can't really engage Paulus, because we just don't have enough supply in the area. But now that we're across the river, we can probably. There's not much. I think the next supply position is Calcutta, unfortunately. There's not much before that. So we might have to slowly grind our way across the river lines here, and try to make our way through the massive deltas in order to reach Calcutta as a next major supply point from where we can stage future operations. There is a hub in the north here, in Darjeeling, but that is in Nepal, so we can't use that. And I think there was a supply, there's a supply position in the north here, which can alleviate some stress on the supply in the troops in the north, but we're not going to do any further operations there either. So, well, for now, we'll let things organize themselves. Step by step, we're waiting for the first to make its way back into port in northern Luzon, and then we are going to start the naval invasion of Taiwan, and we are going to start taking down. We're going to start taking down the Japanese inner defense ring. We've got some combat. These are just submarine operations. So American submarines getting a little cheeky here, and their convoys as well. So that's something that the escort groups can take care of. So not a big problem there. Okay, fleet's back in port, so we can launch the naval invasions going north, and the fleet is going to run invasion support. So all the ships, so speed that up again. That was just for the naval battle. Once the ships move out, then there we go. Transports have been moving out. Carrier group is escorting against any kind of Japanese interventions, in case the Japanese carriers decide to run any kind of suicidal missions there. We are sinking a few convoys here and there, but I think no Japanese interference in the naval landings, and that should get us 6 divisions on the ground, and should take out Taiwan without too much trouble. And there is a naval engagement in the East China Sea, but it's just a Japanese convoy, so nothing major. Troops are about to land. We'll see how much resistance we are facing here, but it looks like minimal to none. So we have taken the port, and we can immediately start expanding the lines here northwards, as in support of the second group, which is still underway, in order to land in the port south of Taipei. So once they are landed, we'll get the yep, there we go. No resistance from the Japanese defenders, so we will immediately start engaging the sole Japanese group that has been defending here, and I think that's pretty much it. We can probably from there immediately start staging the next invasion northwards, and we can get the first back on strike force. All right. While the third is still, I think, still repairing. Yeah. So a lot of the destroyers have taken a large amount of damage. So that is still going to take a minute until they are finished. Are they all repairing in? They're all repairing in Davao, are they? And that is probably not the most. That's given that this is a relatively small naval base. We might just improve the naval base in Davao for the time being. So where is there it is. So let's prioritize that. We get the naval base improved here for faster repair operations, and that can be the core base for the Southern Pacific operations. And it looks like the last troops in Taipei are being taken out. There is a Japanese cruiser force, so let's see if the first can intercept. Yep, they are. The cruisers are attacking our submarines. First is out to intercept, and we'll see if they can. I'll see if they can manage to catch them. Japanese defenders have surrendered, or done other things. So now the Japanese cruiser force suddenly faces the full wrath of the first Schlachtgeschwader, and that's already the end of these ships. I don't think any of these will get away. There we go. 2 light cruisers, 6 destroyers, and 5 enemy convoys sunk. And we are ready in Taipei for the next naval invasion. And I think from here on, we'll be fighting our way through the southern islands, and We'll see. We'll see. There is a potential threat from the legation cities, but we can bypass that and literally just take out Japan at this point. Take out the Japanese at this point. Coast is not yet clear. We could try to bypass the strongholds in the south here, but I think having and directly go into the home islands, and that is probably not a bad idea. Just to not stretch out the war any longer than it needs to be. Japanese resistance in the area is minimal. So once again, we're going to get the 2 Marinesturmpanzer divisions, and we are going to get them from Taipei to land directly. We're going to get them to land in Kagoshima, and then we have the additional 4 infantry divisions, and they can start from Taipei and land north of that in Nagasaki, and then we will be running the operations from there. No threat in the air really from Japan, so I think you can actually now be docked in Taiwan as well and keep operating. So we can now extend potentially our fleet operations. Yeah, once the third's repaired, we'll extend our fleet operations to the coast of Japan. But for now, we'll just prepare the naval operations, and we have complete control over the Japanese Sea. Now let's expand our control over the Indian territories. But first, let's begin by clearing out the northern positions. They should be. They are completely out of supply. So let's begin with a massive mountaineer assault into Indian territory in the north, into the last strongholds. And yeah, they are complete. Their supply is depleted. We have. It is a river crossing, so it's less than ideal, but we have support from the air, and that should not be a huge problem. And then we will be using the momentum to clean out the desolate Indian troops. That's a full army group going down in the north. And we are going to get the Marinesturmdivision. Actually, they can rest. We can probably use the regular assault divisions to bring the we'll use what we have available to expand the lines towards Calcutta. The biggest problem is that. Yeah, the biggest problem is supply. So we're probably going to get the Marines on a separate mission to start a river crossing at Dhaka. So let's get these 4 divisions to push all the way across the delta here, actually probably all the way towards Calcutta. So we'll launch a second pronged assault from the south. That'll relieve the supply in the north slightly. And we are clearing out the mountain positions in the north here with massive help from the Luftwaffe. There's very little that they can do to resist, despite the fact that there is a large number of troops engaged here. And then we will push them back through the mountains, and we've got still 5 mountaineer divisions in the area to assist with operations. And we can start bringing some additional assault infantry into the area and start expanding in the north while the Marines are moving south. It's slow going, but another Japanese. Oh, that's the carrier force. Okay, so the Japanese have sent out their carriers on a suicide mission towards Taipei, probably planning to launch their planes into the German ships in a last act of misunderstood desperation and glory. But in thunderous weather in the shallow seas of Taipei, it's the final battle of the Imperial Japanese Navy. They have already lost the Akagi and all of their screening forces. The carriers are trying to disengage, but the Soryu has already taken massive damage from the heavy guns and she's gone down. She's been sunk actually by a submarine in the area. That leaves 3 carriers that are desperately trying to escape, and the Shokaku is already listing heavily. They are now attacked by torpedoes, by heavy guns, by light guns, and the carriers have no chance of making it out of there. And with that, the last core of a potential Japanese fleet, in a suicidal attack against the invasion forces launching from Taipei, has been sunk. We've got the Elsass has taken down the Seikokubo, and the other ships have gone down to the rest of the forces. Now there are just a few Japanese submarines left that are desperately trying to escape. And once that battle is concluded, that will spell the end of the Imperial Japanese Navy. And that means we can probably actually relocate the 3rd, once it's completely repaired, to Hawaii and start building the defense line there. How is the war going for the Americans? They haven't retaken Detroit, but they seem to have pushed out the Canadian incursion in the north here. So not as clear of a victory as they probably thought against the Entente. But back to the front lines in India, and we'll see how the cleanup operations are going. Yes, that's where we were. Yeah, troops are being pushed out here, so we can once the mountaineers have crossed the river and are starting to bringing the fight into the foothills of Assam, we can then engage with the Gebirgsjäger divisions from the south as well, and we'll probably start the engagement already here in the south, just to pin the Indian defenders in place, and we'll be bringing in the second front once the rest of the troops have crossed the lines here. And the naval battles. Oh, that was a different naval battle. That was just American operations. But yeah, there we go. Battle of Taipei. The rest of the Japanese fleet needlessly sunk and more or less committed seppuku in that regard. I'm going to send the whole fleet for repairs, honestly. So we'll bring them into the repair base in Taiwan, and I think whatever is left here can be easily handled by the surface forces, and they should be ready for the naval invasion once that becomes active. We've got von Mackensen's troops in the area. The problem is we don't have any supply just yet, because the sea base here, I think, is under construction. Yeah, there is a naval base under construction in Balochistan. It's going to be taking until July until that is operational, so they are not yet quite ready to engage. We do have a significant German East Asian army moving through Ceylon. I'm not sure, they might be staging their own naval invasion. That would be ahead of Guderian. That would be hilarious. And von Kluge's troops have not made their way there yet, but they are on the trains through the desolate hinterland of Russia in order to get into position. And where is Guderian? Guderian is shipping to Ceylon. So we can now send these 4 divisions over to Ceylon and start planning a naval invasion from here to Madras. And then once that has completed, then Guderian's troops can follow up and invade the south of India and bring a quick end to this whole thing. We are getting rifles, and we are very short on infantry equipment. I'm assuming that is a problem of occupation, because that is probably requiring a relatively, the Russian Republic is requiring 100 divisions at this point. So we've got almost 1 million men in garrison forces. That means we should quickly decide on the fate of Russia. Now, as usual, the policies here are not to occupy vast amounts of territory. The policies are to create a network of allied states that have their own tensions in between. So the point is, Germany is by itself not the largest state. It is very powerful, and its military is the strongest in the world at this point. But we do not want to have a single entity getting large enough that they start getting the idea that they could challenge Germany for leadership. So as such, we have to be somewhat careful about creating allied entities that are strong by themselves, but that have enough friction between each other that then they don't get the idea that they should be in charge of things. All right, so let's see what we can do. Let's begin with Finland. Finland should be going to Sweden, ideally. We'll see if we can make that happen. So the Finnish soldiers have been defeated. Yes, we're marching through Helsinki. And we can actually not easily hand that over to Sweden. So I would have to maintain military occupation, or Finland would become independent. So we could liberate the Finnish Republic, and it would then become a part of the Reichspakt. Again, maybe this is for the best, to prevent Swedish nationalism from taking over all of Northern Europe, and potentially having some revanchist ideas about, I don't know, restoring their own empire. So we can either create the Finnish Republic, it becomes a puppet of the German Empire. We can restore the Kingdom of Finland, which will also become a puppet. And I think right now, let's see. Right now, they are just under occupation from us. But I like the idea of the Kingdom of Finland, although we have somewhat diminished the influence of kings and federalism. But we have some kingdoms in the east, so that kind of thematically fits in relatively well. So we're going to restore the Kingdom of Finland, and that will, once that actually affects, there we go, that will now be part of the Reichspakt and be a counterbalance to Sweden in the north. Let's see what we can do with Greece. Greece can honestly go to the Ottomans, although again the Ottoman Empire is already relatively large and controls Iran and vast parts of Northern Africa. So we'll see. Fate of Greece. We'll see what we can do. We can liberate them as a republic. There we go. Same. Or the Kingdom of Greece. Again, I think the kingdom is what we want here. Can we? I don't think I can actually actively give away Greece. Give control of state. No, I cannot actually give this away. So this is the mod at work. It won't allow me to easily transfer this. I can fix that later simply by use of console. I just don't want to destroy these things. So I think Kingdom of Greece sounds, despite the fact that it's got socialist in the name, Kingdom of Greece sounds like the right option here. Better than a. In either case, it's going to be the Hellenic Socialist Republic, but as Kingdom of Greece, that sounds better. Now, the Russian option. I definitely would like to not restore Russia as is, as a single state, but to break it up, to give Ukraine and to give the Ukrainian and the Belarusians more territory, and maybe give some territory to the Trans-Amur Republic. But we will see what kind of options we have. Okay, let's see. So we can we can liberate the core Russian lands, or we can separate Siberia. So if we separate Siberia, then that will become an independent state, and the rest becomes the Russian Republic, or everything becomes the Russian Republic. Okay. Separating Siberia is probably the better choice in that regard then. So let's go for that. Okay, so we've got the Kingdom of we've got Siberia, we've got a much diminished Russia, and we've still got part as we've got the East. Can we give this to the Trans-Amur Republic? No, because they're not actually with us. Can we? I don't want to necessarily maintain a position there in the Far East, and we've also still got the north here near all the way up to Murmansk under our control. Can we give that to Sweden? Give control of state. Let's see. Iceland, we're keeping that. So that would be Petrozavodsk, Murmansk, and White Karelia. No, that's all in the Philippines. That's in Africa. No, it doesn't look like. Okay, so again, I will probably have to do manual transfers unless there are further fate decisions coming up. I can end the military occupation. Which military occupation? Okay, it doesn't tell me. That would probably be the military occupation of France, and potentially England, where von Falkenhorst, England, Wales, Scotland. Is the focus now unlocked? Let's take a look now that Russia is defeated. No. The Second Weltkrieg still needs to end. So we've still got the German-Japanese war going on, and we've still got that's the same, and we've got the American-German war. So once the co-prosperity sphere is out of the way and the Third International, we'll see if that will officially end the Second Weltkrieg. But I might try and see what ending the military occupation does. Because it doesn't actually say, but let's finish off the Indian campaign here in the north, such that we can start concentrating the troops on the other positions. We have the Marines ready, so we're already going to launch the assault across the river line all the way towards Calcutta, and we have some troops that can back them up here. So let's see if the Marines can make it across. Unfortunately, we've decrypted the cipher for Japan, which is good. Unfortunately, we're fighting in the jungle, which means the tanks are less than effective. So we can probably start. No, this is still ahead of time. We've probably got some infantry tech that we can do. Let's get that out of the way. And but it's not a huge thing anymore, and that should hopefully have reduced the amount of occupation that I need to do as well, by the way. We're still having a massive occupation force in Russia, so that's because of these occupied territories here. So if there's nothing else coming up, in terms of decisions, then I will probably just realign the borders by hand and clean everything up a little bit, and ensure that we are reducing the amount of occupation there. In the meantime, we probably have some older armies that are no longer necessary. So I might also just start demobilizing some troops. That's just some material support that we're no longer getting, and Russia has fallen. Not long ago, Russia was at the zenith of their power. Fueled by revanchist sentiment, Moscow Accord posed one of the most credible threats to the German world order. Some went as far as to say that in a few years Russia was poised to take Germany's place as world hegemon. However, its current war effort has proven to be disastrous. With several major cities fallen, that is... that's a bit out of time because Russia has definitely fallen, and a lot of states here are still under control of the German Empire that we will eventually need to deal with in better ways. All right, let's finish off the operations in India, where we are actually struggling to make it across the river here, simply due to the very narrow band and the relatively heavy defenses in the north. So I think we may have to. I don't think we can make that through there. We'll let the Marines recover, and then we'll launch another attack on the northern position, which is more easy to be assaulted, because we can have some land-based troops. Everybody stops sending weapons. We've got some land-based troops here from under Model. So let's send them over. And I think I have enough command power to promote von Kluge. Where is he? Unter von Kluge, promote him, and he will become the field marshal for the armored troops, which means he can get the logistics wizard trait, which is extremely useful because that'll reduce our overall supply consumption, because he had already organizer. I still have enough command power to assign that. And obviously the offensive doctrine for von Kluge is what we're going to go with. And that means he is now going to be reassigned as field marshal. And then we will have to see if we can take one of his tank commanders. Let's see, the General der Waffengattung, that's supposed to be double T, Hermann Weber. I need 100 command power for that, so it's going to take a while. But he can take over. He can take over the troops once we have enough command power to promote him. Because I don't think I have anybody left. No, who we can easily assign, who has experience with armored operations. So that's going to come soon, and we have the last Indian position. Here, where some Indian counterattacks running against the mountain troops, but they are now completely encircled, which means we can bring some additional troops over and use some of the foreign troops here to launch and support these attacks on the Indians that are there in their last position in Assam. And already the first troops are surrendering. Once the counterattack has been defeated, the mountaineers will join the fray. And this is the last stand under Commander Sagal of the Indian army, and they are going to we'll send some troops from wherever we have them, but they are going to be defeated in their last in their mountain stronghold in Assam. And finally the northern Indian front has been taken, and we can concentrate on the rest of the operations. I think the next big one that is going to break India's back is going to be Guderian's invasion in the south, and then von Mackensen from the west, once the naval base has been constructed, can make his way. It should be 5 days away. Can make his way there. Victory or Death has completed. We'll do that next episode. I just want to see the numbers here, because that'd be yet another Indian army group. There's still some troops actually retreating here in the mountains that are trying to get away from their previous defeat, only to find that their base camps had been destroyed. And with that, in the Asian theater, 120,000. That was one of the larger ones, and there's another 30 40, so around about 160, 170,000 troops. A full field army has been taken in the north, and we are ready to launch the assault towards Calcutta and the invasion of the Japanese home islands. All of that coming in the next episode, and we shall see how the America is definitely getting pushed. The Canadians are making their way towards Chicago, so it looks like the American troops, despite their numerical superiority, are going to start having some trouble with the Canadians.